Alright everyone, it's time for Occult Literature, video number 387, Indian Masonry. Link in the description to my edition of this work on Amazon, second and third links to my books, blogs. 110 pages, so it's an intermediate read. Of course, text from the late 1800s, early 1900s, typically double-spaced for some unknown reason, and really wide margins otherwise. And so they tend to be like a 2 to 1 page length. So this was a lot more than 110 pages in the initial format. Just a little bit of tip for people who are thinking to become an editor. There's a lot more convolutions than you think to some of these fucking documents. Anyway, this is an excellent work. It's from a Freemasonic perspective, and it's an examination of Native American, I use that in quotes because, I'm Native too, rituals and practices and how they overlap ideologically or in some cases in practice, in the more physical sense, with Freemasonry, with occult traditions that are newer. Some of them are a stretch, and there was American Indian Freemasonry. That was a work I've already edited. It's similar in context. This work is longer, has some illustrations. It recounts tales of certain deities and the goings-ons of the spiritual world, the Manitau and the corn god and all these things. And in some cases, there is what appears to be a genuine overlap. And people during this period, this is an interesting bit of history for you, believed quite literally in the world flood, the antediluvian period and so forth. They believed that there was a common origin, and certainly not one a million years ago, that linked mankind, and the diaspora from that over a relatively short number of generations effectively had branched off. And so you had the different branches of mythology and religious practice, but they had a common origin, and that was the solution to why they had similarities. Now, that's kind of fallen out of favor, but I've never seen any particular proof against the concept. So when I see that there are a large number of overlappings between certain concepts, figures, statues holding purses, etc., and multiple continents, pyramidal design and so forth, I think it is meaningful, and I think archaeology is doing a disservice by not investigating further. Because right now, the only people that really look into it are like the ancient astronaut people. So it becomes a problem when the people that are looking into a particular style of mythology or derivation and interpretation thereof happen to be considered kooks. Sort of like that dude who first discovered the Viking remains off in Newfoundland, places like that. At first they thought he was nuts. And of course now we realize he was completely correct, and we know that the Vikings made it to coastal Canada and arguably to parts of New England, but we're not sure about the latter. So it's a good work, although again, there's some stretching here. Like the idea, well, there's a native practice of initiation. Well, we do initiation. And it involved a lodge. Well, we build a lodge. And it involved purification. Well, we do that too. Oh, basically the Freemasons. The bigger ideological point, though, is the concept of the Freemasons holding themselves up as noble and fraternal, helping the poor, healing, and so forth. That has a counterpart. But then again, you could say that about most religious groups. Again, it's accurate, but it's not necessarily the most unique similarity and overlap in the world. But it is a good work. I do highly recommend it. Again, it is illustrated as well. So you have some drawings of like the shirt, the cloak used in the ghost dance and things of that nature. That's interesting. There are similarities in the tales, though, that the Freemasons derive it from older sources as well. They do appear to show a link at different points. If you have delved into archaeology and religious history, you probably noticed many of these yourself. Even though those links are dismissed, again, by mainline theologians, etc., as being just coincidental. Well, it's natural that they all happen to have a sky god that has similar characteristics. There's no similarity further beyond that. On that point, the fundamentalist Christian lay would agree, but we won't get into that right now. Again, link in the description of my edition of this work on Amazon, second and third links to my books, blogs. I do highly recommend this. If you're interested in the Freemasons or this period in religious history, and a little bit of the archaeological side as well. That's about all. Peace out.